Welcome to Your Music Saved Us, where two friends blast ourselves into the past to relive and recontextualize the alternative Christian music we grew up listening to in the 1990s. My name is Jay, and I'll be your host for today. And joining me is someone who, well, honestly, to be frank with you, I'm not sure where he's been spending his time lately. He keeps chanting, Hitler hated Jews, Christ loved the world, punk rock hates Christians, you do the math. Clifton, are you all right?
We are doing that song just so we can talk about those lyrics. I don't even know.
Yeah, okay, so with that, Clifton, what are we listening to?
We are listening to the debut album by the side project of a side project of... Yep. This is Pride Kills by Left Out.
Yeah, it's like at this point, Christian music had gotten to this point where there's like side projects of side projects, right? It's like, this is really peak alternative Christian music at this moment, I think.
Yeah, and inbreeding all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah. Was this easy to find? How were we able to listen to this?
It's not on like your normal, what do you call it?
Streaming services? Like Spotify.
Yeah. Nope. But it is on Bandcamp. And it's also, so the Left Out is a side project to The Blamed. And if you go to The Blamed website, these albums are on there for free for download.
Yeah, so it is out there and you can listen to it. It's just maybe not, places that we normally go for music.
Right.
So, another couple questions before we go on. Was this played in youth group?
No.
Not ours, at least, right?
I would love to be a member of the youth group this was played in.
Yes,
but
true.
Not anyone that I've ever heard of. Is this played in any of y'all's youth groups? If this was played in your youth group, tell us about your youth group.
Yeah, we would love to know, actually, because I do feel like there probably were some cooler youth groups somewhere.
Yeah. Not mine.
Yeah, not mine either. Okay, another one we ask all the time, and I'm curious your response on this one. Clifton, are we getting preached at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I would agree.
Old school, this is why I'm better than you. You need to be a better Christian than you are kind of way. Yes.
I mean, and it kind of fits with the style of punk rock, right?
Yeah.
Like this is kind of where you'll get some of that. So
yes, it's very true.
Yeah. Well, before Clifton tells us about Left Out, I want to remind everyone to visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute to get extended episodes. We really do appreciate our patron support, especially since over the summer we've slowed down a bit, but we're picking back up. We've got all kinds of exciting episodes coming up. Thank you, patrons. Clifton, tell us about Left Out.
I'm going to try. First off, just go listen to the Brian Gray interview on The Rumors Are True, because it's literally him just telling his career story, and it's impossible to sum up in a few minutes. But basically, this is Left Out is more or less a Brian Gray project. And he was born in California. And in the early 90s, he got his start playing in a band that he created called Rocks in Pink Cement.
Which, by the way, I love that name. I think that's a cool name.
Great name. While he was in Rocks in Pink Cement, he got to know other people around in the kind of Christian punky kind of scene, right? Although Rocks in Pink Cement, from my understanding, was more of kind of a fusion genres. They kind of compared themselves to Red Hot Chili Peppers in some ways, a little bit. So
I was going to say I would love to hear it, but then you said they sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers, so maybe not.
I'm not sure, right? But that said, Brian was asked to join Blenderhead, for example. He played a few shows with them. He played in Mortal for a while. I think he play drums for them and bass for them, if I'm correct. He played in the Crucified for a while. Is that right? Or was he just friends with the Crucified? I forget. This was so much information. Okay. And while he was doing all that, he kept Rocks and Pink Cement going, but he wanted to do something heavier, so he started The Blamed. And we've covered one of the Blamed albums so far, right, Jay?
We did. We covered Frail, which was their sophomore album, with a little bit of definitely a different sound than Left Out, but also than kind of the first Blamed album, which I think sounds more like Left Out. But anyway.
Okay, interesting. Okay. And so he started The Blamed as a side project, got that going. And he also toured with 6 Feet Deep for a while. And while he was doing that, at Tom Fest in 1995, he decided that he wanted to start more of a melodic punk type thing. And so he started this project, which is Left Out. So this band was formed, like I said, 1995 at Tom Fest as a side project to The Blamed. So on this album, we have Jacob Landrau. He was on The Blame's first album as a guitarist. Like I said, Brian was also filling in 6 Feet Deep at that time. And so Mike Porter, also from Branston, came over and played guitar on this album. And they also had the drummer from Zao, who they were touring with at that point in time as 6 Feet Deep, who was Jesse Smith, and he came over and played drums, and then Brian was playing bass, and then like everyone did vocals on this album basically. Also, he wanted this to be produced. Do you know who he wanted this to be produced by?
Chris Colbert?
Nope.
Oh.
Good guess, but no. He wanted it to be produced by, I think I heard this right, Steve Taylor.
What?
Yeah. But Steve told him that he would fuck it up. And so he recommended that they just use his engineer. And so they did that. I guess maybe Steve Taylor's engineer is Chris Colbert, because that's who recorded the album. Also, it's produced technically by Chris and Clank.
Yeah, and Clank is Darren Dialosa, who also played a little bit on this album, right?
A little. Well, I think he only really plays on the secret track, the hidden track.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's definitely some Clank inspired guitars going on here, I think.
Yeah, definitely in one of the songs we're going to talk about, I think, for sure.
So that's pretty crazy. We got people from everywhere. So it's definitely, we have, like I said, we have all those people. We have Clank. We have Chris Colbert. His wife is around. She's thanked in the credits. This is on, by the way. The Blamed had been on Tooth and Nail Records, but this is going to come out on Flying Tart Records, Alex Parker's label. And yeah, that's where we are. A little bit from Brian Gray here. He said, by the time we recorded this album, The Blame had finished the Frail record and was on hiatus. I actually had shows booked and had to fulfill them as Left Out and play some Blame songs. I was living in Ohio and filling in for the band 6 Feet Deep on bass, and Jake Landrau from the Blamed Album 21 was writing songs with me again. So we asked Mike Porter from 6 Feet Deep to play guitar. I knew he really wanted to play guitar in a band, not just this band. By the time we went to record the album, we asked Jesse Smith to play drums on the album. We went to Nashville to record in Steve Taylor's Sound Guy's garage with Chris Colbert engineering and Clank producing. Clank was also filling in with 6 Feet Deep at the time on guitar. It was rad. This album is a hot mess in all the right ways.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to say, Jesse Smith playing drums on this, this is really early. Like, this is pre-Zao being on Tooth and Nail. Like,
right, this is Steadfast.
Yeah, they have just only put out their very first album, All Else Failed. So this is like Jesse Smith and Zao become a much bigger band after this,
yes.
But this is like very early for that.
Yeah, I know that this album was put out sometime in the summer, a little bit before Cornerstone, in the summer of 1996.
It's funny you mentioned that, Clifton, because my first memory of this is buying it at Cornerstone 96. But at the time, and I don't know if this was just because like it was cheaper, but when I bought it, all I had was the disc. I didn't have the artwork with it.
Really?
And I don't know if that was just because whatever table I bought it off of, I don't remember if it was specifically a Flying Tart table. There's all kinds of just people selling stuff. I don't remember who I got it from, but so I'm not sure if it had already been out and this was just like some weird extra somebody had, or if it was, my memory, I think was it was about to come out, but like maybe they had the CDs pressed because the CD I had looked like the CD.
Okay.
Like the CD is correct. Like it's not a CDR or anything. Like it's correct, but I just didn't have anything else with it. So for my longest time, my memory of this band was a little bit of a mystery. Like I knew it was connected to The Blamed, but that's all. I didn't really know the other people in it or anything. But yes, I picked it up that summer, and I think you're right. It's somewhere right around middle of summer that this comes out.
Yeah,
1996.
And I actually have a story. I talked to Alex about the artwork for this album, so we'll have a story from him later.
Okay, good.
For that, yeah.
Well, what about you? When did you pick this up?
Probably early-ish 97. So, you know, the winter after this came out was probably when it came into my life. Jay, this is, I guess I'm getting old because my memories of being a teenager are fading. And I remember loving this album. I remember listening to it a lot. I remember especially listening to it while mowing because it was really energetic and I could just kind of headbang, you know, while I mowed and kind of be mindless, you know, to it. But I also remember listening to it while driving and things like that. And I think Stuart and I used to listen to it together a little bit. But like, I just don't have any strong memories of it for some reason, but I listen to it all the time though. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember why you picked it up, like at the Christian bookstore? Did you know about it, or were you just like, oh, I mean, the cover, we'll talk more later, but it definitely looked like something we would have liked. Like, you're not going to be like thinking this is Stephen Curtis Chapman or something. Like, you're not going to confuse it for contemporary stuff.
You definitely think that this is in the alternative to punkish realm.
Yes.
Right? I can't remember. Maybe Stuart found it first because I don't think I would have picked up the album cover, and we'll talk about that when we get to the album cover. Maybe it was on a comp. Was it on one of the Starflyer comps? I don't think it was.
It was on. Left Out was on that Starball contribution, right? Because they had the cover song of Convoy. Maybe I think they did. Am I making this up?
Let's look this up because
I'm pretty sure they were on some of the Flying Tart comps, but I don't remember when those came out versus this album. He's looking it up in real time, everyone.
I know, sorry.
Oh, so that came out in 97, although we don't know when in 97.
And maybe I just picked, so I don't see him on here. Do you? Oh, there
it is.
Saturday night.
It's Saturday night. Who does Convoy?
Fluffy. That Convoy cover, by the way, is fantastic.
It's great. That's what it is. It's Left Out. Yeah. SATUR. That's right. Okay.
And we'll cover this. We'll talk about this Saturday night cover as well. Maybe I just picked it up because it was Flying Tart. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I did at the time. I was like, I think I knew I would probably like it. So, okay. Well, so both of us remember picking it up around that time. Kind of. I don't have any specific memories with it either.
Yeah.
I don't know that they ever played live shows at this time much. Maybe
they did. They toured like crazy.
Oh, never mind.
But they definitely didn't come down where we were.
Okay. So, yeah, I have no memories associated like that, but maybe we should just jump into it.
Okay. I mean, how do you feel like this? Was this different when you listened to it? Was it different than what you listened to at the time?
Yeah, I think so. I think my punk exposure at this time was probably like most Christian kids. It was like, I'm trying to make sure I've got my years right, but it would have been MXPX. Mm-hmm. It would have been around this time. It would have been like Goaty Hook, Value Pack, like all that popular stuff.
Right.
And this was definitely a little heavier and more of an edge, different sound, different feel in that. And I think, but because I was exposed to those other bands, I liked this. I think if I'd come straight into this without being into the pop punk, I might have not been as big a fan. Yeah, you're looking up 90 Pound Wuss, and I think that came out before this, their first one, I think.
Okay. It's same year, so it might have been right before.
You're right at the same time, yeah. Which I liked as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like 90 Pound Wuss, but I never bought the album and it never really clicked on me. I think just maybe the songs were a little bit too short and never really got melodic enough. Whereas this, I think, is harder, but is it, it borders on that kind of hardcore punk, but it's more melodic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told you last time that this is, or maybe whenever we chose to do this is, along with Crux, this is maybe the hardest thing that I listen to regularly. Like
Okay.
that.
Right.
Yeah. So this was definitely pushing the envelopes of my.
This was the edgy,
aggressive music. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump in.
All right, let's do it.
Song number 1, handicap song, which
we'll talk.
I'll just start off and say I was messaging Clifton and I said, because again, remember I only had the CD. I was like telling him, I think I liked this more when I didn't know what the lyrics were on some of these songs.
100%. Yep.
But anyway, let's jump in.
All right. So the first thing that hit me going back and listen to this is the audio quality, because it's not a bad recording. And I remember this from when I was a kid, but it sounds kind of muffled. And it's mostly because there's no mids in any of the guitars.
Mm. And
that's kind of, we'll talk about this quite a bit, but these guys are coming from that kind of like metal, a little bit of hardcore type influence, and those kinds of music at this time were not using mids. And so they're kind of bringing that influence in their guitars over to playing this kind of melodic punk, right? So everything kind of sounds like it has like a blanket thrown over it, as far as if you're used to hearing more poppy punk like MXPX and Goaty Hook and stuff like that,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like throwing a blanket over it. Yeah.
That said, the song starts off with this like really raw sounding guitar playing a melodic 4-chord kind of punk riff before the rest of the band comes in, including another guitar. And it's just kind of fast, and it just feels like it's like falling down a hill. It's fast. And adding to that, the vocals are kind of like this constant and hurried, not breaking into like easily separate lines, kind of shouted in a monotone. And they're kind of buried in the mix a little bit, so you cannot understand them, which is probably why we didn't know the lyrics at the time, right?
Right, yeah. They're really hard to understand on a lot of these songs.
Yeah. But the overall feel behind the vocals is just kind of fast. The music is kind of is mushy, except for the snare, which I think really stands out, and a really plodding bass. Let's listen to the first song here. If you, I'm going to isolate just the drums and just the bass and the guitar here, because like really, if you take them out, it just sounds like this weird kind of like it has very little character to it other than just being like. See, it's just kind of just mushy,
Also, like very simple. Now that I'm hearing it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I do love in the part you played earlier. I do love the way the drums come in, just kind of that building loud,
yes.
Louder, and then when the bass goes boom, like in before the guitar. I think it's a really nice intro.
It is. That's a good point. So the feel really changes as you go into the chorus, which honestly sounds more kind of like a breakdown from a hardcore song, which in my opinion is the best part of hardcore songs. So, good choice by them, according to me. And the vocals kind of break out into more standard kind of filling lines, and you can actually kind of understand them at this point a little bit. can see there kind of just with no ceremony, it's right back into the verse again, right?
Yeah.
And we do that verse, and we do another chorus. And then after the second chorus, we get kind of this, I think maybe the best way to put it is kind of a thrashy. Well, everything drops out except for kind of one of the guitar kind of hangs on, and the drums come back in, and then the guitar does this palm muting thing and like into single notes, and it's kind of this thrashy, metalish kind of thing. It starts out slow and then starts building up again.
Yeah, kind of like a breakdown type thing.
Yes. Whereas the chorus kind of sounded like a hardcore song breakdown. This is kind of sounds like a thrashy metal breakdown.
Yeah.
And the song ends like that. I really find it interesting that at the end there, the lyrics kind of, when they come in, it feels like it's awkward, like he forgot where he was in the song. And then when they go out, it kind of feels like he forgot where he was in the song. But at the same time, it kind of works. I don't know.
and I think that to me was the most melodic part of the song too, when he's like, "You are a child of God," and I know we'll do lyrics in a second, but that was one of the only parts I could really understand back in the day. I was like, "You are a child of God, and I refuse to treat you," and then I couldn't understand what he said.
Exactly.
But, you are a child of God, and so I was like, "Oh yeah, this is
exactly.
I'm a child of God" when I'm listening to it.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about that more in a second. Yes, it's also kind of the closest we get to singing in this entire album. Honestly, really.
Yeah. There's a couple of spots that are, well, there's at least 2 different vocalists, if not 3 or 4 on this album. And some are a little more singing than others. Yeah, and that was a little bit sort of singing.
Yeah. So that's the first song, and I think here in the first song we kind of see what this album is going to be. It's this melodic punk thing, but it's coming from people who play metal with hardcore influences, and they're mostly, even though they're using the grammar, maybe they're using the words of punk, right? Like that 4 chord riff kind of thing, but they're bringing the grammar of that kind of thrashy, fast metal kind of thing with them, and that's the grammar that they're using to speak this punk language.
Yeah.
So, fun song. As you said, the words we could understand there were something like, "You're a child of God, but I refuse to treat you like one." Which sounds to me like, like I can get on board with that, right? Like I'm bad at treating my fellow men like children of God, right? Like I'm not good at realizing the beautiful things that we are, and sometimes I treat people like shit, and they don't deserve that. That's not what this song is about. Fair.
Yeah, I know. I wish it was. Because to be honest, I've read the lyrics and still scratching my head a little bit.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of doing the 121 album EP, where I really did not want the lyrics to be what they were. This might be worse. I don't know, in some ways. This song, though, itself is baffling. Yeah. I don't know what the point of it is. You're going to catch on really fast what he's saying, but I don't know what the point of it is. What's the point of saying this, right?
Well, and at the end of the lyrics, he kind of puts an explanation, but
yes,
this song, it doesn't. Anyway.
No. All right. You want to read the lyrics?
Sure. I'll do my best. There's also really no punctuation, so
There's no punctuation, no line breaks. So
yeah,
it's kind
so
of,
I will do my best. But he says, "A blind man asked of me, if God is a God of love, why am I blind? I said to him, I don't think you see where I am coming from without eyes. I don't think you see where I'm coming from. Without eyes, I see no color. Without eyes, I see no hate. Without eyes, we love each other. Without eyes." Should we pause there?
Yeah.
Let's game this out for a second. If a blind man really asked you, if God of love, why am I blind? And you said back, I don't think you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
First of all, that's an asshole thing to say.
Yes.
And then you say, without eyes, I see no color. Without eyes, I see no hate. Without eyes, we love each other. Without eyes, blind man, actually, it is a blessing you can't see because we can love each other without hate.
Yeah. Because obviously, if you see someone who's a different color skin than you, then you're going to hate them. Come on.
Yeah. What?
You've been spared from racism by not being able to see that people are a different color. I think that's what he's trying to say.
You should be grateful and feel blessed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to go over really well.
I think this is very poorly said where he's trying to say, oh, if we were all blessed with the same kind of blindness, right? The blindness of love, right? It's said very poorly, but I think that's what he's trying to say.
Should I read the chorus?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the chorus. He says, blood flows through my veins. You and I are just the same. That's good. Okay. Yeah. And you're right. That's proper. Let me keep reading though. I refuse to treat you like a cripple. You are a child of God. Oh boy. Is it even okay to say that word, Clifton? I'm not sure. I don't even know if it was okay back then. Right?
He's definitely saying it with a hard R, right? Like he's not. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get that he's not like, I was going to say he's being genuine in his use of the word cripple, but like, he's not like, I don't think he means bad by it, but
no,
I have a feeling if you said that to someone who was disabled, they probably would not appreciate that. Yeah.
Right. But what does he mean here? Like, okay, you're disabled, but I refuse to treat you like you're disabled because you're a child of God. Is that really what he's saying?
Like, let's just stay with it. If somebody is actually blind, like, they might need help occasionally with certain things. You're just gonna be like, nah, dude, treating you like a child of God, same as me.
You're just like me. Suck it up.
Not gonna tell you about that step right there. Like whatever. Like, I don't.
Is that God made you? He's got your back. I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the next one. A deaf man came to me and said, if God is a God of love, then why am I deaf? Here we go. I replied to him, I don't think you're listening to me. This world beckons me. God made you who and what you are, and that is not a mistake.
Which is kind of what we just said. And that's damn.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Like, this, I'm going to just go off track for a second, but this was a prevalent way of thinking, I think, that I grew up with sometimes of like, God doesn't make mistakes. Right. There's that idea. And so like, however you were made, God did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And that is such a fucked up, privileged, like, way of looking at shit. Like,
it's not just privilege, it's abusive in so many directions.
Yeah.
Like if you this is coming from real experience, but I'll leave names out. If you have let's say bipolar disorder, and you're like, no, God made me this way, I'm not going to be medicated. Then you're abusing the people around you by making them put up with you, right?
Also, you're making life a lot harder for yourself.
Yes, you are. You are. And on the other side of that, if you say, well, you're in a wheelchair, sucks for you, then you're abusing those people, right? And it's dark and it's cynical and I don't know how it's not hateful. It's
Also, like, you're in a wheelchair. God's blessed you. God doesn't make mistakes.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
Again, I get sort of where this is coming from, but it's a good example, actually, of how these things really don't work in real life, right? Like, yeah, you could think this stuff, but when you actually logically play it out, like they're trying to do in this song, it's a little, it does not work.
So, Jay, let's go back and listen to that sing-songy part that we were listening to a second ago. That was the one melodic part of this song.
Oh, at the end, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just isolate the vocals there.
You are a child of God, I refuse to treat you like a criminal. You are a child of God, I refuse to treat you like a criminal.
He says cripple. All right.
You could hear it at the end, yeah.
Yep.
The first time it's a little clipped sounding, but the second time you can hear it.
Yeah. All right.
I mean...
So his explanation here, at the end of every song in the lyrics books, he has a little parentheses, and he says, "Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. I am evil, God is good."
That's fucked up in itself. I am evil, God is good. And that, I mean, in some ways that sums up so much of this belief system that, like, evangelical Christianity, right? And that talk about something that will fuck you up. If you really internalize that, that'll fuck you up.
Yep.
Big time.
Yep.
Like, believe that for years and years and keep, telling yourself that you are evil and stuff. Like,
still talking about it in therapy.
Me too. Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to say about that song?
No.
It's fun. Don't listen to the lyrics.
It's got a nice sound. That's the thing with a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
It's just when I started going through the lyrics, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Imagine if it was just about like how I felt at treating other people like they're children of God.
Yeah. Right.
That would have been a good song. But instead it's like, fuck you. This song is basically fuck you. Is it not? All right. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the next one, Best Friend. All
right. The intro of this song is the same strategy as the first song, honestly.
A lot of them are going to be like that.
A lot of them are very similar. A lot of times when I'm listening to this album, I'll be like, what song is this? Oh, okay. I can't tell until the vocals start.
They tend to all be very similar.
Yeah. But honestly, it's not bad. Like it's kind of just a nice album to be like mindless and headbang to and kind of just, anyways. So the intro to the song is the same strategy as the last one, kind of a raw guitar before the rest of the band comes in. But this time, it's not a four chord punk riff. It's one of those kind of like old school melodic punk riffs where it like stays on one chord for like 3 beats, and then it's like 2 chords real fast for each beat. It's like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 4 5 1 1 1 1 1 1 4 5 1 1 1 1 1 1 4 5 like that. Once again, the vocals are super buried. But this time they're more screamy, not just like they're falling down a hill, and they're kind of in distinct lines. So that was intro, verse 1, and chorus 1. We're 34 seconds into the song, and the song is not long. It's 1 minute and 43 seconds long. But the really fun chorus there, it's kind of vocals, kind of gang vocals screaming, "You are my best friend," dun 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 dun. It's nice to kind of bang your head to, and just easy to sing along to.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of one of the keys to this album, because the vocals are so buried. To me, this album kind of lets you, like I was saying before, like just mindlessly bang your head to fast and fun punk rock rhythms every once in a while, interrupted by hardcore metal or thrash elements that are just, kind of a surprise marshmallow filling in this box of chocolates. And when it's like these agreeable sing-along lyrics like "You Are My Best Friend," all the better.
Yeah, this is one I remember distinctly, and it was easy to sing along with. You could understand what they're saying in the chorus. This was fun.
Yeah, I agree. The chorus kind of ends with those harmonics down, in place of the dun 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 dun. Right back into another verse. At the beginning of the third verse, we do get this kind of fun. It goes ugh, and it ends with "Praise God."
I do like at the end of each chorus where he says, "You are my best friend." The last time it's like, "You are my best friend," like kind of the spoken part of it. That's just a nice little touch.
Yeah, it's like understated in kind of a way, that's just like charming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you can even like tell some of the lyrics there, you got married, you started a family, something, 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 and praise God. You can kind of sing along with this stuff.
Yeah.
The lyrics on this one are not near as confusing.
No, this is better.
It's still a little confusing because the first verse is, "I met you on the bus. You said hi to me. You asked if I wanted to hang, and I said no way."
And then, "You are my best friend."
You're my best friend. And then the second verse is straight into, "You asked me to church. I said sure, as long as we're together. We are in trouble forever."
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. You're my best friend. You got married and started a family. I close my eyes and praise God.
I'm getting the picture that the lyrics were kind of an afterthought on this album, maybe.
They're not the strongest lyrics we've ever listened to.
No.
They're not the worst. By no means are they the worst lyrics we've ever had.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. They're not the worst.
I mean, we've had some lyrics that were like written by committee, and they've been pretty bad. But these at least have like even the last song, you can tell that it's just someone writing lyrics. It's not like they're not too filtered, They're definitely someone saying what's on their mind. So at least we can appreciate that, right, Jay?
Fair. Yeah.
His parentheses here is "one brave soul." I guess someone was brave enough to be friends with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. All right. Anything else to say about that one?
Nope.
Okay.
These songs are short, so we'll probably go fast.
Yes. All right. Next one we're going to do is "Pride Kills," song 3. And this is kind of, it's the title track, right? It's kind of a magnum opus of the album, if you will.
Okay.
It starts off like, look, this one does not start off like the last two songs, okay?
Fair.
This one starts differently. It starts off with this kind of rather slow drumstick count, like really slow, like it's like t. And then guitars, but everyone comes in, but it's like, down, down, down. I could play it, I guess.
I was like, but, maybe we should just have Clifton instead of playing it, just like kind of mouth sing the whole thing.
Yeah. And so it does that a few times, and then there's faster drum faster drum clicks, and it comes in for real kind of as a punk song this time. But the first part feels kind of metally. So there we have kind of, I think this is more kind of, after we get past the metal-y intro, I think we get more into kind of a standard hardcore punk type song.
Mm-hmm.
You might think I'm crazy here, but I want to solo out the guitar right there, because it has this kind of strumming thing that gives it this feel. It's almost like a tremolo. Tremolo is an effect that kind of makes volume go in and out, like what, you know. In fact, it is a metal guitar technique called tremolo picking. Yeah, so I'm gonna play you a little sample here of tremolo picking from a tutorial I found online, and this is just gonna be with a clean guitar, so you can actually hear what it sounds like, and then we'll go back and listen to the song. All right, so you get that there. It's just kind of fast picking, but what it does is kind of mutes it every time you're coming back to it, right?
Okay.
So let's listen to this guitar here, just the guitar isolated. You hear it there?
Yeah.
It just kind of gives it this feel, even though we have these really mushy guitars going on, you know? Just another one of those charming things about this album. It's using melodic punk chord progressions and arrangements, but these people are used to playing metal and hardcore, so the techniques they bring to it are those techniques, you know? So the arrangement for this song is kind of nice too, because it's basically the first verse ends with the title of the song, Pride Kills, and goes straight into the chorus. And then right back into a verse. And once again, these are, you can understand these lyrics, and they're fun to sing along to, right? Pride cows, who do you think you are? Which as a teenager is really fun to scream at people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's straightforward, it's understated, it gets a point across, and it's done with some aggression. After an extended kind of second chorus here, who do you think we are thing? But then it goes down into kind of another one of these breakdown type things where the guitar drops off for a moment, and then we kind of go back to that opening punk riff, and then back to Pride Kills. Kind of like the last song at the end there, you know, so it's just the spoken Pride Kills.
Yeah, I like that part.
It works really well. That's the song. I think it's a fun song. I think these guys are good at keeping things short and doing the fun parts of the song without getting bogged down in what could be, you know, overly long things.
Shall I read the lyrics?
Yeah, these are not easy to figure out. I mean, in some ways they are, but it's still weird.
Okay. You are an empire, an unstoppable army destroyed. An unstoppable army destroyed victims' false sense of victory. I've got news for you. Your enemies will rise. They will conquer you. Pride kills. What the fuck?
You are an empire. Come on. You know what that means. Let's move on. Second verse here. Maybe we can grasp.
Yeah, so of course, in between that, who do you think you are? Yeah. And then second verse, I remember the day when you were a human being. You made yourself a monster. Where did you lose control? As a slave serves his master, fulfill a good day's work. If it is not what you desire, then terminate me. Pride kills. I await your analysis, Clifton.
I'm gonna first default to Brian's explanation here, which is the pride in my life makes me sick. The ego of Christian music has always proven suicidal, and in the end will take care of itself. You are not welcome here.
The worry about this though, and again, I remember growing up with this mindset is like, pride kills. Yes, pride is bad. Don't want to have pride. And like a lot of the shit that we would label pride and feel bad about ourselves was not really pride.
Right.
It was like just like, oh, I felt good about something I did. Oh, it's pride. Like,
yeah. It's almost a weakness of the English language, right? We don't have enough words to describe appreciating yourself.
Yeah, and it's okay to appreciate yourself. It's okay to feel proud of some things you've done. I get that could be taken too far. Like, sure, like anything. Like, you don't want to be an asshole, but like, I think a large part of growing up in this mindset of thinking like, you know, I am evil, God is good kind of thing is you tend to not think too highly of yourself. You tend to think the other way. And then anytime you have any kind of positive thought, it gets smashed down with pride kills, you know, and it's like, it's just not helpful.
Yeah. That said, I think maybe this is talking about something that's gone too far, you know?
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's clearly about the Christian music scene, right? And it's probably about labels, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are an empire, an unstoppable army. He's probably talking about just like the corporateness. And we'll even read later, he has kind of like a note in the album. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should just read it now because this is I think it goes with this song. I'm gonna scroll down to it. He says, this is his letter to my world, 1996. The world of Christian music has a lot of ground. I can't say I am any better, or has lost a lot of ground. Sorry, I can't say I'm any better. I used to believe in Christian music. Right now, it seems so hopeless. It's talked about in the Bible to give praise with our voices and our instruments. I don't know of anywhere in the Bible where it talks about Christian music. It is music. Christian music doesn't sound any different from music we don't call Christian. The so-called Christian music tends to lack in originality. If it's original, it usually goes unappreciated. Christian music also tends to worship the self. I have experienced this myself. I have gotten so caught up in it that I totally shut the door to the Holy Spirit. Most Christian labels have got the dollar signs in their eyes. Their conduct is in most cases legal, but I wouldn't call it ethical. It seems that in order to make it, your life has this is a word missing probably, has to reflect the musician and not Jesus Christ. The times that I felt the most secure with music are the times that I have felt the furthest from God. I think that what my complaint is that what we've taken Christ out of Christian music and that leaves the music. Anyways, it just goes on like this. So I think that he's saying there that he just got caught up in the worldly trappings of things, you know, got caught up in the money side of things, got caught up in the business side of things, you know. Yeah, in my own life, I can see reflections of this with like, there's nothing more annoying to me than like architectural magazines, you know, because what people are shooting for in architectural magazines are never what I'm trying to shoot for in architecture. I'm trying to give people places that they can live their lives that are affordable to build, you know, whereas architectural magazines are about like taking pretty pictures.
Yeah.
And so like, I get that same kind of feeling where when I look at architectural magazines, I'm like, fuck that shit, you know? Yeah, I don't know. It seems similar to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's a nice positive way to view
it. That said, these lyrics are weird.
Yeah.
That's it. You know? As slaves serve his master, fulfill a good day's work. If it's not what you desire, then terminate me. Is that to God? But the first part is, I remember the day when you were a human being, you made yourself a monster, which, by the way, the lyrics for that is fun. I remember the day when you were a human being.
You made yourself a monster. Yeah. That part was fun, too. I remember that.
All right. Track 5, When We Are Together. This is a fun one, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The first half of this song, I think, feels like maybe the most straightforward punk song so far. It starts out with a drum fill, but I think maybe only like the second or third drum fill like in this entire album, honestly. And the guitar in the intro in the verse is doing this interesting palm muting thing that's kind of, it seems backwards to me on how I would go about palm muting, but it sounds good. I like it. So that was the first verse and chorus. It does that a lot. But once again, when we read the lyrics here, it's going to be weird that the opening, the lyric verses are screamed. But got this fun sing-along, we're so stupid together, which is this nice, once again, great thing for teenagers to scream, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely how I felt with a lot of my friends that we were stupid together.
Yep.
After another repeat of the verse and chorus, we get this kind of like very metal guitar thing. And it goes back into the we're so stupid together thing. And that's the song. Once again, it's fun. It's weird because it's this really pop punky thing, but it has this metal kind of, guitar, dueling guitar thing in the middle of it. But it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the little metal shift in the song.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it works well for this one.
And I think one thing I appreciate about it is that whenever they're bringing things over, I usually don't like metal, but whenever they're bringing metal things over, they're typically here bringing over the most melodic parts of metal. I think, Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we dive into these lyrics?
Yeah, these
All
are. Right. I mean, they're not great, but they're not bad in the way that some other ones have been bad.
All right, you want to read these ones?
Sure. It says, I wish you were here, and then in parentheses, across the world. I don't want to be there, in parentheses, California. Is this the end, in parentheses, hopeless? Because I'm only on the first verse, in parentheses, doom. Chorus is, we're so stupid together. And then we have, you and I can talk as long as we're apart. When we're near, I'm insecure and I fear. And then that last part that you heard, kind of with the metal part, don't make me choose. And then it said, in parentheses, you never asked. Final part of the song, I wish you were here, in parentheses, state of mind. I don't want to be there, state of mine, M-I-N-E. We've reached a stalemate, in parentheses, I hate chess and quitters. I wish I'd grow up, in parentheses, I'm sorry.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptic, obviously. We're so stupid together. You and I can talk as long as we're apart. When we're near, I'm insecure and I fear. The we're so stupid together part seems like it's about friends, but the rest of this seems like it's some kind of like failed love song.
Yeah.
So the parentheses that he gave us, are very useful. Across the world, California, hopeless, doom. You never asked. State of mind, state of mine. I hate chess and quitters, and I'm sorry. So this is from the Facebook page for The Blamed. It says, fun happy birthday Wendy fact. I also wrote a left out song, When We Are Together, off Pride Kills, about her. This time the lyrics were about her because he wrote another song about someone about her, but the lyrics weren't about her because they got changed later. It was inspired by the line in Mallrats that Jason Lee and Shannon Daughtry are stupid for each other, but was a compliment so romantic.
We all do weird things when we're
Yes.
young.
Yes. But it sounds like also like he just couldn't get up the nerves or something like that. Maybe, or he didn't, he didn't believe in himself that he could be in a relationship. I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can appreciate that.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Especially back then. Yeah.
Yes, especially back then. Short song, fun song, weird lyrics, but still fun.
Yeah, it was another one that was fun to sing along with.
Yeah. Speaking of weird songs,
about relationships.
this one's called Two Girls and a Guy. And I want to start off by reading his, in parentheses, explanation at the end here. He says, I always wanted to write a song about my family. After I wrote it, I came up with the title. I don't know if it will make it. I don't know if it's wrong to make people stumble. But if this title makes you stumble, I can say from experience, if you don't get help, you'll only get worse.
It's been so long, Clifton, since I heard anyone say that phrase, like make you stumble. I just think it's a funny title. Yeah, if you think two girls and a guy means some kind of threesome or something, it's funny. I don't think there's any like stumbling. It's just like kind of funny, right?
Yes.
Like, oh my God. Everything was so serious, wasn't it?
So
Everything.
serious.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wow.
I don't know who he thought was going to filter him or to censor him, because it definitely wasn't flying tart.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason I wrote here, there's no rules to songwriting. Sometimes breaking the rules makes it feel better. So this song is basically like the previous song, but it mixed with early Huntingtons, I think, a little bit.
Okay.
Very kind of old school poppy punk. Before pop punk, there was poppy punk, right? But it's weird because it still has those like aggressively the blamed kind of guitar tones. We'll get to it later, but I think what I was writing, there's no rules of songwriting, sometimes breaking the rules makes it feel better, is the fact that two of the lines rhyme and two of the lines very much do not rhyme in that first part. And it happens later on too.
This song has always made me laugh, even listening to it now. Just first part.
Super
She's
corny.
my mom. It's just like, it's just funny. You think it's going somewhere else and then it doesn't. Yeah.
Let's continue listening. That Heather gets so angry, but in the end it's all okay. We always work it out. I love my sister. Is like there's no rhyming in that. It's so corny,
Yeah.
This is one of the songs as a kid that I think you can definitely understand the lyrics to this one, the whole thing,
Yeah.
And it's fun. It is the most kind of pop punky punk rocky kind of straightforward thing on this album. I just like the long outro in the song.
Yeah. No, it's a fun song, and those lyrics are so bad sometimes. Friend named Mike, we're so much alike. Oh my God. But it's nice. It's heartfelt. It's clear that he just misses his family. He says he wants to make them proud. I mean, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So the chorus is, I miss my family. They're so far away from me. I moved across the country. I hope I make them proud. And I want to introduce here something I experienced as a kid, Jay, which is I'm going to call reverse nostalgia. We may get into it when we talk about MXPX Life in general as well, because I remember listening to this like as I was about to move off to college and be like, oh yeah, I hope I make my parents proud too. But like it was kind of into the future, so it was like, I don't know, it felt like really nostalgic. Like it's that same kind of nostalgia feeling, but for something that hasn't happened yet, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, fun song.
Good.
All right, the last one we're going to talk about, honestly, is fun musically, although the musically is not why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a shift musically. I mean, a little bit.
No, it is. Yeah. Yeah, it starts off different than any other songs. It starts off with kind of that more like old school hardcore punk sound with a bass riff, which I love. Not necessarily this bass riff. I'm just saying that I love songs that start with bass riffs. But it kind of has these like rumbling bass strings as the bass is being played aggressively and somewhat soppily. So the guitars come in, they're thick, and once again, kind of both mushy and fast at the same time. These vocals are different than, once again, anything that we've heard on the album so far. They're kind of this hardcore punk kind of screamy in the background thing where it feels like they've backed off the mic, but they're screaming, like that,
Yeah, they're kind of more guttural, too.
Yeah, very good point, yeah. It's weird to me because it feels to me like both verses kind of go on one line too long, and they kind of lull you into this kind of mind fog kind of thing where you kind of just zone out a little bit, listening to da, 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 kind of aggressive and but in kind of a very melodic way. And then the chorus comes in and changes things up. It's faster, it's more melodic, but it only lasts like seconds. Back into that bass intro, and the vocals for the chorus there are just like that same, the singers just screams one word, and then you get like this kind of noisy, chaotic gang vocals replying, and it just has that kind of old school kind of punk rock energy to it. Yeah, and it does that 3 times, and that's kind of it. Let's listen to the end. And those vocals are super buried, so you can't tell what they're saying, right? Right, Jay?
Most of it.
Yeah.
A
What could
few
you
parts
understand?
would come through. You say you are a Christian. Like I could hear that part.
Yeah.
That's most of it.
These lyrics are the weirdest ones on the album as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, should we read the explanation first? Would that
First?
help?
Yeah, go for it.
He said the so-called punk zines reviewed my friend Matt's zine and judged him as bad as the church could. The zine hypocrisy runs deep. The good news is that Matt wasn't trying to impress the so-called thinkers. He was himself, and that wasn't good enough. Lame.
Which seems low stakes compared to these lyrics, Jay.
Very true. Yes, these lyrics are a little bit more, intense.
All right, I'm going to read the first verse here. How can you call yourself a punk when you say you are a Christian? Never knew punk was a clique. Something I couldn't fit into. Christianity is not a club, the church is. A club where you are judged for your friends. And then here's okay. Here's the chorus, and it does the call and response thing. The singer says, Hitler. Yes, Hitler. You heard this as in Adolf Hitler. And the response is, hated the Jews. And then Christ loved the world. Punk rock hates Christians. You do the math. So let's do this math real quick, Jay.
Okay, I hope you can, because I was trying as I was writing my notes. It was like,
Hitler hated the Jews. Christ loved the world. Punk rock hates Christians. So therefore, punk hates Christians. Hitler hated Jews. Punk is to Christians as Hitler was to the Jews. So, first off, Hitler didn't just hate Jews. Okay?
True. Yeah, he didn't just hate Jews.
Right. He killed like 6 million of them, which was like a good portion of Jews that lived on Earth at the time. Because he wanted to literally wipe them out, right?
Right.
So I feel like it's a little overblown to say that punk rock is trying to genocide Christians, or was, right?
Yeah. It's definitely not just a little overblown. It's way overblown.
Yeah. And so like this, and the chorus is overblown, right? And all of this is because someone criticized Matt's zine, right? Let's not miss all of that, okay? All right. You want to read the second verse?
Sure. Call me a Bible bashing conqueror. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. It's funny you don't like me. I didn't give you the finger. Yeah, I didn't give you the finger that you point. I understand it's punk rock not to care, but in the end, we all die.
We all die. So say what you want to about me. Hitler hated the Jews and you hate me.
Right.
But you know what all that's missing, Jay? Is talking about zines.
Yes, true.
So let's fix that by going over the third verse, okay? I'm sure your zines will not like this song. I do respect your opinion. The church has become a corporation and institution. Jesus Christ is still my closest best friend. You preach acceptance that you don't care. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Spit in my face, you are a liar. Okay. They must have had some harsh things to say about Matt Zine.
Yes, it must have been really bad.
Yeah.
Do
you think they tried to kill him?
I doubt it.
Okay. I doubt it too. You know what this reminds me of, Jay?
What?
Christian Freakout. Christians are always the persecuted.
Yes, the victim of everything.
Yes. Everything. Everything. Oh, you say I can't talk about this? Why don't you just kill me? Don't tread on me. Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Everyone's out to get them.
Yeah. And it's just so dramatic. Remember in the first episode of Arrested Development where Lucille, the mom, is like complaining about the gays, like, everything they do is so flamboyant, it just makes me want to set myself on fire.
Right.
It reminds me of that. All right. Anything else we want to talk about with this song?
No.
Okay, good.
I will say, Clifton, we're skipping Feed Us, which is supposed to be a clever riff on fetus because it's sort of about abortion. But I will say it could be worse. It's more about how, like, the church is really harsh on people who are put in this position, and church should be more loving. So that's not too bad. Then we also have When You Assume, that you've skipped, that is all about kind of, we're getting Christian nationalist again, almost, kind of, which The Blame did on the other album we reviewed.
Yes.
So anyway, just pointing that out, Clifton. You're leaving those hanging. I'm fine with it. Just want to make sure people knew those little nuggets are in there at the end.
There's definitely more, self-persecution in here. When You Assume is pretty bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of like, Make It Happen. It's just like this nice little song. At the end of the song, it does this. Oh, Jay, I forgot to talk about Nobody Special, because Brian said that a huge influence of his for this album was Nobody Special. Crap.
That makes sense. Yeah, I could hear that.
Okay. I have an example of Nobody Special here. You know Nobody Special?
I did, because I found an old tape of theirs, like, from when it came out one time at a Christian bookstore, and was like, what is this? I was like, oh, okay. How in the world? Because it came out, 90, 89? I don't know. Like, one of their
like
stuff
88 or something
like way before this other stuff was in Christian bookstores. It was interesting.
87. Man.
Okay.
Yes. Here's an example I had for us.
I was living in sin. Please help me grow. Now that I see you again, there was so much pain. I was going insane. You took away my blues. Help me to spread the news. Oh Lord, I was living in sin. I didn't want to let you in. I was selfish and bad.
What if that was the Christian punk rock we grew up with, Jay?
Yeah.
Lord, I made you sad because I didn't want to let you in. All right.
Well,
A very different world.
let's talk about anything else to say overall before we jump into like packaging and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a fun album. Don't go back and listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I think if you ignore the lyrics, this can remain a fun album in your spins.
Fair.
Like, even if you're a Christian, this is still pretty bad, right?
I hope so. I hope people feel
I
that
hope so
way.
too. Yeah. The lyrics. The music's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the album artwork.
Yeah, so the cover is this guy,
In a leather jacket.
and just honestly, it looks like maybe he's from the 70s or something. Just a little bit of the like what he's wearing, but it's a guy sitting down on a step, and there's some people in the background. It's black and white,
Mhm.
and he's just got his head like in his knees, basically. Like his arms are crossed, his head is down. You can't see his face; you can just see his hair. So
And he kind of has long hair.
yeah, he seems like he's maybe sad or upset or just exhausted.
Mhm.
Something, can't fully tell.
Now, this is the album artwork for Minor Threats EP.
Yeah, it's not drastically different, except the guy on the Minor Threat album cover is shaved head, and it kind of
Yeah.
has more like combat boots on.
Has combat boots on, and also he seems dirtier, right?
Right.
Kind of like that SLC punk dirtier.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
definitely looks more punk.
Yeah. So I asked Alex Parker, and he said this is definitely a nod to the Minor Threat album cover.
Okay.
So, yes. I don't know why they chose this picture. I don't know if we know who this is, because it doesn't feel, other than the pose, it doesn't feel very punk rock, you know?
I agree. I don't know, like, why didn't they just take their own in
Yeah.
black and white? Right?
Because you know who else did an homage to this, to the Minor Threat album cover?
Who? Oh, yeah. Rancid, Out Come the Wolves. Duh.
Yeah. Very similar, except for also sitting on steps, except for the Rancid one, he's wearing kind of a leather vest and has a mohawk and is a drawing,
Yeah.
not a picture. But yeah, so I mean, it's like, this is a thing, right? Like, it's obviously already a thing. So I don't know why they went with the guy with long hair who looks a little bit yuppie-ish. I don't know. Not exactly yuppie-ish, but he's wearing slacks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why they chose this picture, but still an homage to Minor Threat. When you open this up, you see the left out CD here with the Flying Tart logo on it, and when you take it out, this is what you see behind it. Did yours have? You didn't have the album.
I didn't have it, so I
Okay.
didn't have any of this. Yeah.
So here's the story from Alex: is that there's two things we're seeing this right here, which we'll explain in a second, and also the back cover. Both of these were things that he sent to whoever Diamante or whoever was over him, like, because he had sold the company, and he was operating under them, and they told him he could not do this, but he told the printers to print it anyways. Which is why, if you don't have this very first printing, you do not see these things, okay?
Okay, so what is it we're seeing?
So it is a picture of a guy with like a .45 revolver pointed at the screen.
At
the
you,
camera.
looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, and they're out like in the woods or something like that, kind of in a field in the woods, and the words left out are just over his face.
Yeah.
And then the part that Alex is really proud of is the back cover, which has a image grab of Lee Harvey Oswald being shot, like the look on his face as he's being shot,
Yeah, that shot. I think it's was it Jack Ruby, the nightclub owner who shot him,
Right.
that famous photo of him getting shot.
Yes.
Which I'm sure Alex did not have permission to use.
No, of course not. No.
Also, just the fact that it's on the back cover and this was in Christian bookstores makes me
Right.
laugh. Yeah.
I guess he thought it was super punk rock, and it kind of is. Like, it's shocking, when you
Right.
first turn it over. But my point being that if you do not have the first print of this, everything is going to be different. That's, I think the cover stayed in the second print, but even if you look up the album today on like the Blame's website, it doesn't have this cover.
Yeah, it's even a different cover. Yeah, it's a good point.
It's like a building on like a high rise building on fire or something like that.
Yeah, what's on Discogs is what you have, but
okay.
I found a different version. Discogs has the back of it where it was Lee Harvey Oswald getting shot on a later version, same front cover, but the back version, and it's just like, it looks like it's in a prison, but a guy's got like an afro walking down one of the like walkways, and so it's again like maybe from the 70s, type thing. But yeah, interesting.
So, anyways, I asked Alex about it. He said he got in trouble for it, but he wanted to do it, so he did it anyways.
It's great.
Yeah. I think the album artwork is great though. It also has this kind of weird traffic sign that says left out and has like a left turn symbol on it. Otherwise, it's just like this lyrics over like some crumpled paper graphics, and the lyrics are it's one of those 3 folds, and the lyrics are 2 folds wide, so it's kind of hard to read it because you have to like keep going to the right, going to the right for quite a while. But otherwise, I like it. I think it's pretty understated, kind of punk rockish, you know.
Yeah, it was a fun album. I wish that the recording quality had been a little better. It all just sounds a little smashed together.
Mm-hmm.
But
part of that is that lack of mids.
Yeah.
When you're not super cognizant of where each instrument is sitting in the tonal range, you know, things can feel very on top of each other. Yeah.
Right.
Like earlier, you might have noticed when I was playing one of the guitar tracks, it was like cutting in and out. That cutting in and out is exactly where the drums were, right? And so like they're occupying the same tonal range. So when you separate them, it can't separate the two. A really good mix won't do that, but this is not. I mean, whether it was for aesthetic reasons or not, this is not a mix like that. This is a very flat kind of mushy mix. Yeah.
Right.
But I like it. I think it's appropriate. It would be interesting to hear a remix of it that is a little more modern sounding, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Clifton.
Yes.
Where are they now?
That's a big question, and I'm not going to attempt to answer it, but I will tell you that Left Out went on to put 2 more albums out. They did another one on Flying Tart called Serve Self. And then at some point in the late 90s, Brian kind of resurrected again the Blamed, kind of reinvented them. And he also got involved around the same time with Jesus People USA. And so the Blamed put an album out on, and the last Left Out record came out on Gurr Records, which was kind of a Jesus People USA thing.
Right.
They toured a ton, including like Europe and stuff like that. At some point they decided, and by the way, I never listened to the other 2 albums, but a lot of people did. And they actually got pretty popular from what I understand, and they toured a ton. Eventually they decided Brian decided that he couldn't keep the Blamed and Left Out going. So he kind of merged the 2 bands under the Blamed name. Oh, at the same time that this album came out, they put out Greatest Hits. It's a 7-inch, and it's just 4 cover songs. But one of the songs is Saturday Night, which is on the Starball contribution.
Yeah.
And that was not something they did at any given time. It was a request of Alex. Alex asked them to do that one. The weird song that they covered on their own is a Monkees song, Stepping Stone.
it works.
Yeah, it works pretty well. There's also a Circle of Dust and Chatterbox covers on this 7-inch. And this 7-inch is on Bandcamp.
Yeah, it's also on the Blame's webpage.
Sure,
too.
yeah, all the stuff is on the Blame. So you can actually go to the Blame and download almost everything for free. But if you want to give these guys money, you can go to Bandcamp and find them there and pay for it as well.
Yep.
Brian is still doing stuff with the Blamed every once in a while.
Yeah, it seems like they're still doing stuff.
They've put out albums recently. In 2023 or 2022, he put out that album, "The Church is Hurting People,"
Right.
which we talked about when we did Frail. Yeah. Other than that, Mike went on to do Branston, and then of course the Zayo guys went on to do Zayo. Things like that. Yeah. Go listen to that episode of The Rumors Are True with Brian. That's where you'll get all the real information.
Cool. Clifton,
Yes.
what are we doing next time?
We are going to hopefully have a guest appearance.
Woo!
Yeah. We are going to have Chrissy from Excommunication Station, and we're going to cover MXPX's life in general.
Big album. I'm
Yeah.
anticipating more listeners for that one. We will
Yes.
see.
And then after that, we are going to do Danielson Family's Tell Another Joke at the Old Shopping Block.
I am very excited to
Yeah.
do that one. In fact, I re-listened to part of it today and was like, oh,
You
This
skipped
is-
ahead.
good. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get a little ahead right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exciting things to come. We'll be back soon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Music Saved Us.
if you enjoyed your time with us, please leave us a review or share this episode. Visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Visit our website, yourmusicsavedus.com, to find out all the ways to listen. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Join our Facebook group or follow us to keep up with the latest or interact with us, and send complaints and disagreements to yourmusicsavedus@gmail.com.
The music in this episode is the work of Left Out and is used with apologies, not permission. But if you want to support these guys, like I said, go over to Bandcamp and you can find this album and the EP. The 7-inch with the cover songs. Those are the only two over there, but they're great. And they also have 2 other albums, but you can also find Blame stuff. And
If you go to
Support 'em.
theblamedband.com, there's more of their stuff on there.
all right, thanks everybody.
Thanks. Bye. I guess I'm all alone on the podcast now. Clifton will hear this later when he edits it. Well, I've almost finished my old fashioned. I probably shouldn't be drinking this early in the afternoon, but you know, I got these new ice cubes and I wanted to make one. I'm a little concerned about you.